Hello everyone, welcome to a special preview, Whirlpool preview of Future Champions Day at Newmarket, the home of British racing, this Saturday. You can enjoy 5 races previewed by Graham Cunningham and John Blance. We're going to start with the first race, and it is the too darn hot Dewhurst Stakes Group 3 over 1,800 metres. Let's show you the course map, and it's a pretty famous one. It is the mile and one, the straight mile and one, the straight 1,800 metres with that little dip as they come up towards home that they race for the Cambridgeshire, which was a couple of weeks ago, the big handicap. So 1,800 metres starts us. First race, and these are the runners. First Conquest, Williamsburg and Godolphin. Liberty Lane, Torito, Damasus, Gladius and Mr. Riz. Right, one that's going to be popular, doubtless, for his exploits elsewhere, Graham, is Damasus. What do we make of him?
I think he's lightly raced. He's progressive. We pick him up back in May in a Dante Stakes, which didn't work out well initially, but pick him up left of picture by Frankel. I think this was just his 3rd run, and he comes home really strongly to chase home Pride of Arras, who has eventually franked that form back at York. This was a good performance. I think we can give him a pass on his Epsom blowout. He got lit up, had a tough trip, finished tailed off, but then he went to France last time, John, on a retrieval mission in a Deauville-listed race. I thought he put up a solid performance over 2,000. That form's working out nicely.
Yeah, he was prominently ridden in a race where they didn't go a particularly strong gallop, a la a lot of French races, but he had to get the job done, and he did. And yeah, you can give him a pass for the Derby. A lot of horses were inconvenienced that day, so yeah, he's definitely got a chance.
Actually, the Yard won it as well. We'll come to this in a few moments, so we'll look at last year's race. They won it with a 3-year-old. They'll look to win it again. Gladius, Graham, let's get your thoughts on this horse, who, at the time of talking, I think he's having a pretty good season, and one of the 3-year-olds who rather catches the eye in here. Again,
just 5 runs, so by no means fully exposed. He's won 3 of those 5 runs. He won a handicap at Goodwood, Glorious Goodwood, off a mark of 95. 4th in a York Group 3, John Blance. Every chance, didn't need any excuses.
Not really. I mean, boiling points come out to win the Cambridgeshire, so obviously that's franked the form to an extent at handicap level. Obviously, this is a Group 3 race, so he's not in my numbers. He'd probably run okay, but I didn't think there was anything outstanding about this performance.
OK, as we see the closing stages of Gladius and Co at York. Let's go back to this race last year, John. Claire Haven won it with a 3-year-old. That was lead artist. He turned out to be a pretty good horse. They'll look to win it again. They'll look to beat Liberty Lane again.
Yeah, so this is a very good run in the context of Saturday at Newmarket. Also, of course, he won the Cambridge of this horse the race before that, when drawn really quite badly historically. So that was a real rich vein of form he was in. Been a bit in and out this season, Graham, but there's not much pace in this race. He'll go forward on Saturday. I think he's got a good chance.
Absolutely. That tactical element could be a big plus for him. And he ran respectably last time. Yes, he couldn't cope with a Merrick, the winner at Ayr, but he did carry a penalty that day, and a Merrick is a fast improver who could be champion stakes bound. So Liberty Lane, I think, is a key player tactically and in terms of his ability.
Right, then 6 go out for this, but you'd be hard pushed to rule all of them out, I would say that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, please.
Well, Gosden, John and latterly Thady have won this race 3 times in the last 8 years, all with 3-year-olds. Step forward Damasus, the fastest of the giants in Greek mythology. I think he's got a lot to recommend him. I do fear Liberty Lane, both in terms of raw ability and his tactical versatility. They're on top for me. It's 4, 2, 1 and 5 for me, John, in the Dewhurst Stakes.
Yeah, same numbers in the top 2 in a different order. When we go with Liberty Lane on top, I think it's good value at the moment. Interesting to see what he'll be in the Whirlpool come Saturday afternoon. Damas is in for 2nd, so 2 and 4. First Conquest in for 3rd to stay on towards the end of the race. And Torito was very promising last year, lightly raced this campaign, but could be interesting too. OK, 3 different views. I'm going to have a go on the top horse, number 1, First Conquest, who is getting primed, doubtless, for a winter in the Middle East. I think he can win on final start, doubtless, in the UK. Right, best of luck, whatever you're going for. On to the second race this big Whirlpool day at Newmarket. It is the Night of Thunder Zetland Stakes, and it's a 2,000-metre race for juveniles, which wouldn't obviously be a test that they take in all that often, but it's thrown up some pretty good winners. Look at Kew Gardens 8 years ago, who went on to win the St Ledger. That is your course map, not unlike the first, just 100 metres or a couple of 100 metres further. Allegresse is there, Del Maro, Endorsement will come to, Look to the Stars, Las Vegas, Mr Colonel, Pierre Bonnard and Spice. Let's go in with one that's going to doubtless attract plenty of punters in. That's Endorsement.
John.
Yes.
Now, off the back of last time, the Zetland was mentioned as the next target, and here they are.
Yeah, you're going to pay the Coolmore tax for this horse. He's going to be popular in the market. But here, over the 9 furlongs at Tipperary as well, the 1,800 metres, he was a bit back in the run. He came the scenic route and he stayed on really well. A lot of stamina question marks about quite a few of these. Obviously, they're 2-year-olds, but I think this horse is absolutely copper-bottom stayer at the trip. I think he's going to be tough to beat.
By Wootton Bassett, who's going to be a big miss in the stallion ranks. Have a look at this. It's not lightning quick. He has to have several cracks to get on top, but he won decisively in the end, Nick, and the second horse has polished the form by winning since.
Now, conversely, on the Connections quotes, as we take a look to the stars, Connections to this horse, Graham, said he could run in the Autumn Stakes, which is our next race, but they've got one for that, so here he is in the Zetland trying a new trip.
Yeah, he's got runs on the board. Second at Haydock, second at Sandown, then gelded. Here comes Look to the Stars winning at Kempton. Again, it's not flashy. He's a galloper rather than a quickener, but he put his head down and battled on well. Then he went to Newbury. He put his head up slightly, carried a bit high, got a bit sweaty, won on merit, but I think that rating of 97 might just flatter him slightly, and I suspect there might be one or two improvers who can give Look to the Stars a real shake here.
I think he'd run quite well. I like his gate speed, very professional from the stalls. Yes, he was a bit outpaced for a while here at Kempton, but he's obviously stayed on really well again. I think the trip shouldn't be a problem, though. There's still a bit of a question mark, so I've got him in the numbers, but not in top of endorsement.
And we should note as well, they do run Charlie Appleby, as well as Aidan O'Brien. They run other horses, but his record in this race is pretty good. 3 of the last 4 he has won. He has lots of these types, you would think. Selections, please, Graham.
Yeah, first point to me, I'm not confident here. We've got a load of horses who are well-bred, stepping up in trip, could be open to plenty of improvement. So I'm going to take my chances with Aidan. 3, 7, 1, 2 with endorsement on top of his stablemate, Pierre Bonnard. But John Blance, it's not my nap of the day, this one.
No, it's a tricky little race. Of course, 2,000 metres for 2-year-olds at this time of the year is a pretty a rare event. I'm going to go with endorsement on top, though. As I said, the 1,800 metres last time suggested that the 2,000 shouldn't be a problem. Look to the Stars in for second. Allegresse, again, a prominent runner with a bit of class in what we've seen so far, but I think you need to be mid-division to held up to win this race. So he goes in for third and Del Maro for fourth. But I'm pretty keen on endorsement here.
OK, I'm with you. I think Allegresse is very interesting from the family of Ledger winner Eldar Eldarov. But on top, it is endorsement to give Ballydoyle another win in the race. It is Future Champions Day, so another 2-year-old race to have a look at is race 3, 2:25 the local running time. Emirates Autumn Stakes is the race title. It's a Group 3 race over 1,600 metres and one of the most iconic 1,600 metres you're going to get on the planet. It is the Rowley Mile, the famous Rowley Mile, and of course some of these might be back next May for the 2,000 guineas itself. You never know. Right, let's have a look at the runners. They're headed up by Alzanati, Archer Royal is there, Glacius, Hankelo, New Zealand, Pathine and Straight Up. They are the 7. 1 from 1 so far. Charlie Appleby's Alzanati, and given the fact that he hails from this yard, maximum respect, I imagine.
Yeah, lots of good horses have won this race. Lots of good horses by Debawi have won this race. Debawi has supplied 5 of the last 8 winners of this race. Here comes Alzanati. It's all about potential, John, but I thought he really caught the eye. He travelled into the race strongly. It was a pretty well-run race. He looks like he's going to win decisively. And then here comes August George with a strong run to give him a shake late on. August George is made up into a pretty useful performer. Won up in Scotland, then ran really well in a big sales race. It's about potential with this fella, but the stable have a fine touch in this race, and I think this fella's useful.
Well, they liked him that day as well. The dogs were barking, sent off 10 to 11 favourite on debut. He just slightly drifted off a true line in the closing stages of that race. But yeah, when you look at the Appleby record in this contest, he's got to be very high up on the list.
Quite ironic, isn't it, you say about Debawi, his brilliant record generally everywhere, but in this race, and yet the horse was 0 from 2 on the Rowley Mile.
Was he?
Never added up to much, did he, Debawi? Right. Shall we have a look at Hankelo and get the thoughts of John Blance alongside? Just the 56 British 2-year-old winners for Carl Burke so far this year.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic year. And this horse ran a pretty good figure on this particular occasion as well. It's only a novice at York, but these races at this time of the year at York can often be pretty good. Yeah, given the way the race turned out as well, he was prominent throughout, showed lots of professionalism. It was a decent figure as well. He can't be ruled out, Graham.
No, he went on from here to run an enlisted race at Doncaster, and the note I made was that he won the battle but lost the war. He got the better of a good battle with another horse who was on the speed and got nailed on the line by Avicenne, Marco Botti horse. So I think he's already pretty useful. He's on to a bit more improvement. Be really surprised if he's not in the top 3.
We can have a look at Straight Up as we take in Ballydoyle, and look, a completely blank canvas, Graham. This one from one so far, but hails from a yard again, to go back to that line, who warrant the utmost respect.
Yeah, another Ballydoyle juvenile by the mighty Wotton Bassett, John. He was 9-4 favourite for this debut at Listowel. It was softish ground, but he strung his rivals out. So if a Ballydoyle juvenile does this first time, you think they're going to make abnormal progress and make the mark in Stakes Company.
Well, they're also running New Zealand in this spot as well, both of whom were very prominently ridden on their respective debuts. 107% of finishing speed here, so they did go quite slow early, turned into a bit of a sprint. He was well positioned, but as Graham said, he has spread-eagled them. There's quite a bit of pace in this race. I'd rather be just sitting off that, really, given the way the race has worked out over the last few years. So not quite in my numbers, but could go well.
Yard won it with Delacroix last year. They've actually had a future Guineas winner beaten in this race, so you just never know what you're going to get. Your selections, please, Graham.
Yeah, I'm putting my faith in Charlie Appleby and Dubawi, mighty stallion with a superb record in this race. Al Zanati is by Dubawi. He needs to improve on his debut, but he could improve a bundle. 1, 4, 7 and 6 for an autumn stakes with a rich heritage, John.
Certainly has. I'm going to go a little bit wide here, actually. I'm going to go with Archer Royal, who I thought ran very well last time out, certainly with the extra furlong in mind here. Really stuck it out nicely behind Distant Storm to finish third in the Tattersall Stakes. So he goes on top for me. Al Zanati in for second, no great surprise there. Got Hankelo in for third and New Zealand for fourth. But I think at the current prices, interesting to see what he'll be on the Whirlpool as well. Godolphin, but of course John and Thady Gosden, not Charlie Appleby.
And imagine the price of Distant Storm if that one wins by the time we get to the Dewhurst. Best of luck, gents. I'm going with Graham. Al Zanati to give Charlie Appleby another win in the Autumn Stakes. Well, welcome along to this special preview of Future Champions Day, this big Whirlpool preview, Newmarket. And race 4 is the one that defines, generally speaking, the champion juvenile, and it is the one that leaves us salivating as to who we're going to be looking forward to come their 3-year-old year. Some of the best have won it. Right, let's have a look at the distance. The course map, it is 1,400 metres. City of Troy a couple of years ago. Best of them, Frankel, back in 2010, 15 years ago, would you believe? 1,400 metres is the distance, and it's a very special race. Our Parslan is number 1, Distant Storm, Guiwan, Stade, Italy, Oxagon, Pacific Avenue, Saba Desert, and the remarkable Zavateri, who is unbeaten still. Will that be the case come Saturday afternoon? We shall find out. Right, let's have a look at Distant Storm in the company of Graham Cunningham. This horse is going to have plenty of supporters.
I think he'll win. Yes, he disappointed on his second start in the Acomb at York when he pulled too hard, but his maiden win at Newmarket worked out beautifully, and this was the real Distant Storm. 1.9 million euros, 11.11 going into the dip, 12.28 coming out of it, and having looked like he might have to work, John, boom, he really powers on late in the piece, and this was the performance of a potential Group 1 winner, I think.
Yeah, it was noticeable how much better he settled here than at York. It was a complete blowout there on that occasion, but here settled nicely off the gallop, and yeah, is going to be coming home very strongly, no doubt about that. Out
of the only progeny by the late, great George Washington, he's a special horse. He looks very, very good as well. Right, let's go to a Group 1 race and a fabulous finish. Glad that we get a rematch in principle from Zavateri and Stade, and this horse who went over from Britain to Ireland that day, John, has just been the most extraordinary story for all connected.
Yeah, I've made a bit of a living out of underrating Zavateri virtually every time, and I'm going to go against him again here. I'm going to go with Gstaad. This is a terrific battle in the run to the line. You don't quite know about half a furlong to go who's going to get up. They both sort of rallied when asked. I just think run style here, it's important in the Dewhurst to be quite prominently ridden from history, and I think Gstaad will be further forward in the run than Zavateri. Now, Zavateri did really well to win from off the speed at Goodwood prior to this, so it would be dangerous to completely write him up, but I think Stade has got a very good chance of overturning this form here, and there's precious little between them, Graham.
Yeah, I'll make a couple of points about this. Likewise, I've underestimated Zavateri once or twice. He's been held up in well-run races and thriving, winning his races in 86 seconds and change. The winner here will hit the line in around about 83 seconds or less. The ground is drying at Newmarket. I think it's a different test. Stade ran a belter in defeat, but it's Aidan O'Brien. And have a look at these names. Puerto Rico, Dorset, Hawk Mountain, True Love, Precise, Benvenuto Cellini, Diamond Necklace. his 2-year-olds keep progressing with experience. They're primed to peak in the autumn. And like John, rightly or wrongly, I think that Stad will take his revenge on Zavatieri here.
8 times Aidan O'Brien's won it. The co-record winner of the race. He could go clear if one of his is to win. Let's go back to Ireland. And on that very day, John, a little earlier on, the big sales race was taken apart by a British runner, Alpazlan. We've talked about Carl Burke and juveniles so far. Yes, he's got form to find. But are they well worth a go having a role in this race?
I think they are. This wasn't a particularly good speed figure that he ran here, indicating that they went quite slow in the circumstances. And obviously he's been far the best on this particular occasion. But he's got to step up on all known metrics in terms of ratings and previous speed figures to win this. He's going to be up against far better horses on Saturday afternoon. He'd go well, but he's not in the numbers.
Yeah, his rating for that B&J scale, only a second run, but it's 99. And you need to be 112, 115 minimum to have a chance of winning a Dewhurst Stakes.
Graham, let's finish off by having a look at Oxagon winning at Sandown. And principally, I wanted to bring this horse in because you can throw in G1 as well from their run subsequent at Doncaster, which doesn't look too bad now, does it?
No, Puerto Rico, the winner of the Champagne Stakes at Doncaster, went on to win a Group 1 in France. Here comes Oxagon, improving a bundle on his debut to bolt up. He ran very well behind Puerto Rico in the Champagne Stakes at Donny. But I thought he looked a grinder, John. If he's a really good horse, he's going to have to show a better turn of foot than he's shown thus far, in my view, at least. Yeah,
that's Look to the Stars finishing in second, horse we referenced earlier on. And yeah, I think he'll grind. Hopefully he'll grind into fourth, because that's where I've got him.
I was just looking, 8 of the last 10 have been relatively short price favourites winning this race. Is that going to continue? Does it pay to stay at the top of the market?
Well, the champion juvenile crown for 2025 is up for grabs, no question about that. An emphatic winner of this race could seize that crown. It's a world-class race. I think 10 winners since 2000 have gone on to win classics. I'm hoping this year was when it is going to be Distant Storm for Godolphin. I was mighty impressed. Yes, it was only a Group 3 at Newmarket, but he absolutely zipped clear. So it's going to be 2, 4, 9 and 5 with Distant Storm to go boom again in the Dewhurst.
Similar numbers, slightly different order. Going to go with Gestad on top to get his revenge from the National Stakes over there in Ireland. Hope Eve Johnson-Horton doesn't watch this show. I've got Zavatieri in for second, Distant Storm for third. And Oxagon, thought that was a very good run at Sandown, as Graham said. It's worked out quite well at Puerto Rico for. So he goes in there for fourth, so 4, 9, 2 and 6.
This poor horse, Zavatieri, does nothing wrong. He's won all 4 of his races. He's won a Group 1. He's never gone off favourite. We've never put him up, and I'm not doing it either. Distant Storm on top for me in the Dewhurst. Best of luck to all, and certainly best of luck to Zavatieri. Final race preview this Saturday. It's not about the future stars, the whole day's future stars Saturday, but this is very much for the established. It's for the staying handicappers as well. It's the Cesarewitch. It's run over 3,600 metres. You will not get a race like this just about anywhere on Planet Racing. Let's have a look at the runners for the Club Godolphin Cesarewitch. Hip Hop de Loire, Divine Comedy, Barnzo, Dawn Rising, The Shunter, Bunting, Manxman, Alphonse Legrand, Baila Bay, Fireblade and Darwy, with their jockeys as well. Mordor Seddon, who's run at the Cheltenham Festival over jumps, Winter Fog, Vaguely Royal, Reverend Hubert, Surrey Bell, Polestar, Belgravian, Caprelo and Bashful Boy. It's a big staying flat handicap, so it's going to have Willie Mullins somewhere near the top of it. Is Bunting his leading player in this or not?
He could be, and I think he might. I think the jockey booking's important, guys. William Buick's aboard Bunting. Buick won the Ebor for Willie on Ethical Diamond. Pick him up in the Patingo handicap. This is a 1 mile and 5 furlongs, much shorter trip. He's driven along early in the straight. He stays on willingly. Yep. Mullins has a very good record in this race. Irish trainers have a very good record in this race. Horses who've been active over jumps have a very good record in this race, John. So ticks a few boxes.
Yeah, I think he's been earmarked for it. Had a couple of runs at the early part of the season, some time off, and then a couple of preps, including this over a far shorter trip than he'll be getting on Saturday. I haven't quite got him in, but I might regret it.
Me too.
Let's have a look at last year's race. It's fair to say it was a bit contentious.
Yes. we'll not go into the whip scenario here. I watched this race about 5 times in the due diligence for this show because there's so much going on.
Yep.
Obviously, Alphonse Legrand has won. But I like Manxman here. If you look at the way the race went, he travelled really well prominently. Then he was shunted back through the field. He can't quite see it here, but he's had to run around to produce a run. He hasn't gone in a straight line in the closing stages, and he stayed on really well and almost nicked it. He ran really well at Goodwood last time out. So I think he is of the horses from last year to focus on, Graham.
I disagree strongly. I think Alphonse Legrand is very much the one to take from this race. I thought he got to the front too early. I will go into the whip situation. He won the race by a short margin from Manxman. He lost it a few days later because the rider supposedly went over the whip limit. And he got it back on appeal because a new panel counted the hits and said it wasn't over the limit. But let's go to Alphonse Legrand latterly. He's only had 3 runs since, ran very well at Royal Ascot, and believe you me, there was absolutely no danger of William Buick getting hauled in for overuse of the whip at York last time. He came home powerfully under hands and heels for 5th. He looks absolutely primed for another massive run, Alphonse.
Graham, we'll stick with you with another Irish runner, Charles Burns' Reverend Hubert. There is a trial for this race 3 weeks prior, and Reverend Hubert absolutely routed them.
He did. I've got comments to make on this. He was 8th on soft ground in the Cesarewitz last year. Sound the surface probably suits him. He was well backed here, and he only has a £4 penalty. The Andrew Balding horse, Belgravian, didn't really fire his best shot that day, but he can race off a lower mark this weekend. But the problem I've got here, gentlemen, is the judge. He recorded this winning margin, Nick Lightfoot, as 8 lengths.
Go on.
If that is 8 lengths, I'm a Dutchman. And the judge at Newmarket, if you think that's 8 lengths, I wouldn't like you to cut me a carpet.
What I will say about that race...
I completely see it. I hadn't even thought about that. But he's £6 well in, isn't he? Come Saturday.
He is if he won by 8 lengths.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
What I will say about that run, they went very, very hard. A couple of horses went very hard in the early stages. Yeah. He made up ground at an inefficient part of the race there when they were still going pretty quickly. The other placed horses have come from a different part of Newmarket. And for him to still, and I'd take into account it's not 8 lengths, but still to have won in that style under those circumstances was a very good effort. Yes, he's got a bit to find with the horses from last year, but I think he'll run well.
OK. Shall we round off we've topped it with Willie Mullins. Let's finish with Willie Mullins, John Blance, and have a look at a race that Willie Mullins won, the Ethical Diamond win in the Ebor, one of the big handicaps, of course, over slightly shorter than this. This was at York's Ebor meeting back in August. Epop de Loire, who finished 6th, is the horse in focus.
Yeah, no surprise to see him run well on Saturday. I've got him in the numbers. Here in the Ebor, he was a little bit outpaced when they turned the taps on turning for home, but he's plugged on OK. And then he ran in the Doncaster Cup where they went a really strong gallop, and again he plugged on well over the 2 miles on that occasion. Trip should be fine. I think he'll be in the numbers.
Yeah, I'm probably guilty of underestimating the Mullins massive here. I think stamina's not a problem, but he's 8 years of age. Lots of form from off the flat in Poland. Mullins is a magician in this type of race, but I've not put him in my top 4.
Although carelessly, he's not won it since 2020.
Poor from him.
Terrible. OK, the Cesarewitz then, with winning margins and also all whip use, all thrown into the mix. Who's your 1, 2, 3, 4 in the big betting race?
Well, I'm pretty sure that no horse has ever won back-to-back Cesarewiczes. Aim to Please won it twice in 3 years.
Yeah.
But Alphonse Legrand has a huge chance here, and he's perfectly capable of going really, really close. But I've gone for a wild one, or a potentially well-handicapped one in number 17, Surrey Belle. Northern Raider, who's got winning hurdles form. That's a plus in this race. She absolutely bolted up at Ayres Western meeting, over 1 mile and 5 furlongs. That form's worked out really well, and she's only got a £4 penalty. She's well into the weights, and I think the market underestimates her by a fair way. 17, 8, 4 and 20, with Surrey Belle and Alphonse Legrand on top in the Cez.
Yeah, I think last year's race is the place to look here. And I'm going to go with Manxman on top for the reasons stated when we looked at the VT. Reverend Hubert, I think, will run better than last year in this spot. He didn't run badly in it last year either. Alphonse Legrand definitely in there for 3rd. And then Epop de Loire in for 4th. So 7, 16, 8 and 1.
Just a couple of quick lines on horses I got in my numbers but haven't mentioned. Dawn Rising ran well in this race last year. He's off a low mark and he's got Oisin Murphy for the first time. And Caprello bolted up at Kempton is another one with a small penalty. Any number of possibilities here, Nick.
There are, and I am going to go with Baylor Bay, stepping up in trip significantly, but what a summer this horse has had. Billy Loughnane rides, he's well in at the weights, he's got the hood on for the first time. I think he's got that touch of class about him, and I think he can travel deep, deep into the race. Graham, John, thank you. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll be back with previews of Champions Day proper, of course, at Ascot this time next week. But for future Champions Day, thank you very much indeed for watching, and enjoy the racing.